This afternoon out of Clackamas County, where SWAT team members are negotiating with an armed man at the Oregon National Guard Recruiting Center at Camp Withicum. That's located just off Highway 224 in Happy Valley, a little east of I-205. We can tell you there are no injuries at this time. We were told that everyone is safe at the camp. We also know Kyle Aboshi has just arrived there on the scene a few minutes ago. So Kyle, what's the latest?
Drew, there very clearly is a heavy police presence here on the outside of Camp Withicum. In fact, as you look beyond this fence here, you can see some members of the Clackamas County Sheriff's Office. They're meeting outside and discussing the situation. There obviously is clear police presence, but not a lot of urgency in entering the building as they discuss the situation here. Again, as we've been told here, a person with a firearm appears to be in a mental health crisis. They've barricaded themselves alone inside the building. We've also heard from authorities that everyone working inside this training facility has been accounted for and is safe, which is good news in this situation. Obviously, police here, some heavily fortified vehicles, SWAT vehicles, as well as a stage here and come up with a plan essentially to figure out how to deal with this person who, again, has been barricaded inside with a firearm. But again, at this point, nobody has been injured.
Kyle, we've mentioned that there are several law enforcement agencies involved in this situation today, several agencies responding. You mentioned the Clackamas County Sheriff's Office. Have you been able to see or identify any other local agencies that are out there?
I've seen Happy Valley Police out here, but primarily the response has been from the Clackamas County Sheriff's Office. I can tell you the road that runs adjacent to this building as well, traffic continues to move freely, so they haven't really blocked off traffic, although they have prevented vehicles from coming into the facility. It is a secure facility, it's fenced off. Even those looking to enter are met by a guard post. At this point, though, they're turning everyone away. Again, the important point to note here is that there are no injuries, everyone appears to be safe, and they are dealing with one person, it appears, with a firearm who, as described by officials, appears to be in a mental health crisis situation. Obviously, intervention is critical in how they handle this situation to de-escalate and hopefully take this person in without incident.
Kyle, you're reporting the same thing we heard a few minutes ago, maybe 15 minutes ago, that everyone in the building has been accounted for, no injuries. There was talk or mention at some point of perhaps evacuating people from the building. Have you heard anything about that?
We haven't seen anybody leaving the building at this point, and there certainly are cars still in the parking lot to suggest the fact that those who work here are still in the building. Once again, important to note, they're accounted for, they're safe as it's been described to us by officials. There are some surrounding businesses. It's kind of an industrial area nearby here, and they're still operational. Their doors are open and they're still working. So there's no real impact to the surrounding community or businesses at this point. The situation really is contained to this training facility inside as they try to address the situation.
And Kyle, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but you've covered this area for a long time. And for people who are watching who may not be familiar with Camp Withicum, can you talk just generally about what would typically be going on there on a daily basis?
Yeah, it's been described to us as a training facility. Obviously, being a military facility, obviously security is critical and that there's fencing and not everybody can come and go. So it is a secure facility. One thing that I want to point out as well is just the response. Obviously, the initial response drew a lot of police very quickly, so there was great urgency in arriving here, but it does seem the fact that this one person who has a firearm has barricaded themselves. It does not appear to be a situation where there is tremendous urgency in getting in and going through room by room. As you'll see in some situations, there's great calmness here. It certainly does appear that police, as they mill around, are kind of discussing a game plan, but they're not racing inside at any side here. I mean, we don't see any vehicles kind of moving or any officers racing towards the scene. They really are calm in their demeanor.
Yeah, it seems as though the situation is not as bad as it could be. So with that in mind, Kyle, we will wrap this up. Just once again, a large police presence this afternoon out there at Camp Withegum, the Oregon National Guard recruiting center there in Happy Valley. And Kyle mentioned among the law enforcement officials there on scene, members of the Clackamas County Sheriff's Office. Kyle, unless there's anything else to report this afternoon, we will let you go. We do thank you for this update. Again, Kyle Bosch reporting live for us this afternoon in Happy Valley at the Oregon National Guard Recruiting Center at Camp Withegum, where we do know that someone has barricaded themselves inside the center, an armed man, and it doesn't seem though as though anyone has been hurt, and it seems as though this situation is de-escalating this afternoon. We will join you with more if we learn more. In the meantime, we hope to see you live on TV at 4 o'clock for our next live local newscast.